Thank you, everybody. Good morning. Thank you, Chad, and great speech, Laura, telling us how to start a herb garden. Thank you for that. As Chad said, this is my icebreaker speech, and so I want you to take a moment and just think to yourselves, who do you think Amy Miller is? Just so you know, there's no right or wrong answer. First impressions are made within seconds of meeting somebody, literally 3 seconds. And psychology today tells us that those first impressions are very difficult to change. When I was in high school, I went to student council camp, and it's a week. You go with kids from all over the state of Kansas. There's groups of 10 to 20 kids put together, and our group, at the end of our week together, our leader asked us to take a moment, go around the room, and look at each person and tell everybody in the room, what was your first impression of that person, and how did that first impression change? It was amazing at how many of us our first impression actually changed. Now, granted, that's a little bit of a unique environment, right? Because you're co-located 24/7. If any of you have been to camp or any of your kids have been to camp, you get immersed in these people and you get invested, and then when you leave, you're devastated. At my first job, I had a coworker who we became friends with. We worked together pretty closely for several months, and he told me, Amy, people would never know how sensitive you are unless they got to know you. As I was preparing for this speech today, I was really struggled with, how do I introduce myself to you? What do I tell you? I have to admit, I got quite cattywampus in my development of this speech. I thought, I can tell you about my career. I can tell you that I work at Great West Financial. We say that every time. I could tell you that that's the retirement plan industry, 401k, 403b administration. Fidelity's our biggest competitor. I could tell you I'm a process improvement guru. That's a self-named moniker. I love to help people be more efficient, effective at what they do. I love to help clients solve problems, and I enjoy working with people and having variety in my job. I could tell you that I grew up in Kansas and I lived in Kansas my entire life. I could tell you I went to KU, Rock Chalk Jayhawk. All of those things tell you a little bit about me, but they allow you to categorize me in a certain way. And I wanted to tell you something a little bit more personal about myself. So I want to tell you who Amy Miller wants to be. Amy Miller wants to be somebody who touches everybody she interacts with every day. She wants to be somebody who, when we interact, that you feel better, that you feel a connection. So when I walk down the hall at work, I literally try to look everybody in the eye. I push out this energy that I want to look at you, I want to look you in the eye, and I want to tell you good morning, I want to say hello, and I want to smile at you so big that when you look at me, you smile that big back. And I get so much satisfaction out of getting that smile back. So one of the things that I am so incredibly lucky that I get to do on a regular basis is I volunteer at my church, and I get to be a church greeter. So number one, there's no pressure. I don't have to tell anybody where to go. I don't have to know any specifics, but all I get to do is say, good morning, how are you? Welcome, so great to see you. The other thing that my church does is one of my co-greeters high fives people. I love that. People don't expect a high five. They expect church, kind of stuffy. And the kids, it's so much fun to see the kids come running around the corner just ready for that high five, and just to connect with them, connect with people, look them in the eye and say, welcome, I'm so glad you're here. And then what is so incredibly exciting is I get to do that again after church, because when they're walking out the door, I get to look them in the eye and I get to say, have a great day. I hope you have a great week. And that is that just allows me to have so much joy, and I can see the connections I make with people, and I really enjoy that. So I challenge you, when you meet somebody for the first time in the future, I challenge you to not let that first impression stick. Let's take a moment and figure out how to break that first impression. And I hope I changed your first impression of me today. Thank you.